A team member asked me, Justin, now that you're a director of engineering, do you have more influence? And my answer surprised them, as well as it got me thinking, is that the right question? And what do I need to care about, and how should I be using my influence today? So my answer to that question, do I have more influence as a director of engineering? By the way, just been promoted to director of engineering. That's a really key thing here, because my answer is yes, but only with those who don't know me. When they asked me that question, what I realized was they were really asking, Justin, now that you are a director, can you use your influence to fund that project we've really been wanting to do? Can you get more people bought in and get more resources to like go after that initiative? And really what I wanted them to understand was I just care about different things. And not that like what they cared about wasn't important, but at each level, not only did I care about different things, but I cared about bigger things. And that's what I really want to go into. And I want to share with you the things I cared about, the things that annoyed me, because those pain points were things that I needed to solve and figure out. And I'm going to share that, what it looked like as an IC at the manager level and what it looked like as I was transitioning to director. My name is Justin Otero, and I'm a director of engineering at Navan, career coach and co-founder here at Value Driven Careers. This channel is all about helping you grow in your career and increase your impact, influence, and income. If any of that resonated with you, subscribe for more content related to career growth. But let's really get into it. Now, as a senior engineer and really an IC, I really cared about me, right? And the code. So I cared about code quality. I cared about new patterns, libraries, frameworks. Like that was what I would be talking about at lunch with everyone else. I cared about getting my code reviewed, because I know if I could get my code reviewed quickly, I can get it delivered and move on to my next task and finish my work. But what was interesting is I was annoyed by how long it took to get code reviewed, right? Like that review cycle, it took longer than it needed to, and it would slow me down. I was annoyed by writing tickets. I would be like, when someone would say there's a bug, it's like, well, can you write a ticket? And then I'll look at it, like put all the necessary information in there, and then I'll go and put it into like, my workflow. I was also annoyed by lack of requirements, because, I would build the wrong thing potentially, right? Or have to go back and ask like these clarifying questions that should have been done, in my opinion, like sooner. I was annoyed by bugs that weren't bugs, right? It's like going back to the requirements. Well, we built it the way you asked. Sounds like more or less product feedback. I was annoyed by pipeline, like the timing of it, how long it took to run all the test suites, to go through compliance and security checks. Because if it failed later in the pipeline, have to restart it again, which means it takes longer for my code to get delivered and ship what I need to. So yeah, like I started caring about that, or I was annoyed by that. And I was also annoyed by tech designs. I don't know. Some people like them. I just didn't care for them. It's like, I know what I'm building, and it just seems like work to document it and diagram it, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't really see the value then. When I became a manager, though, things shifted. I started caring about timelines, because as a manager, it's not just about me delivering my work, but it's the overall delivery for the entire project, the entire team. When you say you're going to deliver something on a certain date, like sales is going out there and selling against that date. We're potentially spending money on marketing for this thing that's supposed to go out on a certain time. So timelines were really important. And as a manager, you need to deliver on your timelines. So sure enough, tech designs became more important, because it allowed us to be more consistent, make sure we weren't missing anything. It allowed us to collaborate and get feedback from others. It made our projects more predictable. I also still cared about quality and standards, but I wasn't as close to the code anymore. So my team, right, the more senior people, senior staff, like they were able to like worry about those things more than I was because I was a little bit farther removed. Now I cared about retention as a manager. And this is really important because you'll leave a company for pay, you're moving, but you'll definitely leave a company if you have a bad manager. If you have a poor relationship with them, that is one sure way to get you to leave. And if you don't know a bad manager until you've had a good manager. And one of the things that I truly believe is there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. And I want to be the manager that I wish I had and needed. I'm not perfect by any means, but that guides me to do my best and show up for the team and the company. And what I mean by by the manager I wanted, it's like you want that manager who's supportive, who's an advocate for you, who gives you opportunities to grow, who can empathize with you. But also you need a manager to give you clear and direct feedback. And sometimes that feedback is not what you want, but it's what you need, right? You need a manager that's going to hold you and others accountable, that's going to push you to raise and maintain the bar, right? So that's what I mean by being the manager I wish I had and needed, and it's guided me a lot. I also cared about updates. I didn't put this in what I was annoyed about as an IC, but as an IC, I would hate giving updates. And as a manager, you have many projects. You have many things going on. Different stakeholders need information, need to know how things are going. Can they expect this at a certain time? And updates became really, really important. And so, yeah, like I want clear updates, proactive updates. So the things that I was annoyed about as a manager was the time to review. That specific metric all of a sudden wasn't just about me, but it was about the team, right? That was a theme that I saw, that like, oh, like we need to solve this problem. I was still annoyed by lack of requirements, but it just was amplified. Now it's not just me with the wrong or missing information, but an entire team and an entire project, and that amplifies the problem. And I was definitely annoyed with sales. Man, they'll promise something that hasn't been built yet. Dates will be made up, put in contracts, customers are expecting this thing, and all of a sudden we have to like hurry. So I was annoyed by that. So one thing that wasn't really called out in either of these, but it was always a theme and is still a theme now, I always cared about the user, the customer. I think that's like a strength of mine, and any product-oriented engineer or leader, like you have to care about the customer. So I feel like I didn't have to say it, but I still had to say it. So I did care about that. Now, as I was growing and getting more people to manage, more teams, more responsibility, and as I was growing to that director level, things shifted again. All of a sudden, timelines more important than ever because the timelines got longer, right? We weren't just doing projects that took a month, 3 months. They may have taken 6 months, may have taken 9 months. And it gets blurrier, gets more unclear when you have such a big project. You need clearer milestones. Those tech designs aren't just for your team, but now it's to socialize these ideas and get other teams to help on the same project, right? Like alignment became way more important. We need to align the entire department, the entire org, the entire company, right? Because the projects were bigger in scope. They weren't just specific to our product, but they're really like company-wide initiatives. So that really started to shift. I cared about sales. Now sales is my partner. I'm looking to them to make sure that we're building the right thing for the customer, that we're able to get them onboarded, that we can get the beta customers going. And priorities are shifting all the time, but are we focused on the right thing? Like if I'm going to shift resources and I have to switch people up, I want to make sure that's bringing in revenue, right? Like how much revenue is this going to unlock? Like if we build this, it's going to take away from this effort that we're already expecting a certain amount of committed revenue. How do we prioritize? So yeah, I started to really align with sales, customer success, and how that can come together with product marketing and just the entire product design and engineering organization. I care about dev productivity holistically now. It wasn't just a few key metrics about getting how long it takes for something to get reviewed or how long it takes us to recover, but overall productivity, right? Because now there's multiple teams and I'm looking across different disciplines, like how do we make everyone productive? And yeah, like impact. I cared about impact of the projects and what we're doing. Now, the last thing I really cared about was hiring. I mentioned retention earlier, and not like that I didn't care about retention, but I cared more about hiring on my transition to director because I realized hiring was also a way to retain talent. Hiring will bring new life into a team. It will make others excited again. When you have a team where everyone's been there for 2 to 3 years, energy level is low, right? There's those areas that, I don't want to do that work. Well, guess what? A new hire is excited to do that work. A new hire looks at that as an opportunity to learn, right? A new hire is a potential mentorship opportunity for an engineer who's looking to grow, right? It just brought so much excitement back to the things that may have seemed mundane or you just weren't excited about. And so that, including sharing the workload, right? Making sure people weren't spread so thin, raising the bar with new talent, like all of those things actually would just foster a growing culture and scale the teams and deliver more and make us move faster, bring new ideas, and that would retain people. So not that I didn't care about retention like on that path, but like I just knew it was really important to hire, and I can't keep everyone here, right? They will just grow out of this role, grow out of this company, they will leave. But bringing in more people is super valuable. Now, the last thing that still annoyed me as I was getting to director was sales. Like I said, they're my partner, but man, like, give us a heads up. You can make it a little bit easier for us. But jokes aside, things shifted, right? And that's what I wanted that engineer to realize is like, my answer to them was like, yes, I have more influence, but only with those who didn't know me. I had influence, I had favor, and I had developed trust and a track record of consistently delivering. You don't get promoted to this level without all of those other things, without using your influence when you needed it. When you make a mistake, like I would make mistakes, I would misplan, and I would have to use my influence to make things happen with other teams. I had the influence, but now what is it that I need to focus on? Where is it that I need to really make the biggest contribution for the team, the company, the customer? And that's the really important question. And I'm trying to figure that out. I have a different responsibility today, a little bit bigger scope, and you're just trying to be a good steward with what you have and make things happen and do what you can when you can while you can. And knowing that, I have to use my discernment to figure that out. And I'm going to do that by listening to my team, listening to other teams, talking to other managers and leaders, looking outside of our org, right? Like, we don't have all the answers. Going to conferences, like learning more about what other people are doing, what my colleagues are doing in other places, that's going to give me more insight and direction so I can make the biggest impact with what I have. And that's what I wanted them to know. And that's really what I wanted you to understand is each level is going to bring a new set of problems, or the problems will be amplified, and you have to solve them, right? You can't go on to bigger things if you can't figure that out where you are. And as I would always tell my team is, if I do a good job with what I have, with enabling you to make the right decisions, to do the right things, to hold each other accountable, to ask good questions, like, just if I can do that and put that culture of excellence in, you can take me away out of the equation and they'll still succeed. And that's how I can solve bigger problems. If I can't solve these problems, I can't go and do bigger things. And today there are problems and I need to solve those. So that's how things shifted, how my mindset has changed. And it's very unique to my situation, our company, the challenges we had. But yeah, that's a little bit about, like, it's a little bit of what it looked like. So I really hope you found this helpful. I enjoyed sharing this stuff with you, and I know I'm missing things and this is a little off the cuff, but if you like this video, subscribe, comment, like, it's all helpful, and I can't wait to share more about career growth. Thanks for joining.